I remember the first time I spotted him. It was a warm, sunny morning, and I was swinging on the monkey bars like any 7-year-old would during recess. And then my eyes met his. It was the cutest boy I had ever seen. Wind-blown hair, loose white shirt, blue-stained jeans. My eyes stayed on him as he ran around the playground like a Tasmanian devil. He was just my type. My stomach had butterflies. I was in love. But I needed him to notice me. So after school, I ran home and I burst through the doors where I saw my mom standing there with her friend, and I asked, "Mom, can I be white?" Now, I didn't actually want to be white, but how else could I properly crush on the cute white boy at school? So I watched as her face fell in silence. I ran up the stairs, I stopped, and I turned the corner just to wait for her response. And I watched as tears rolled down her face. I mean, I knew what I asked was weird, but white people go with white people, and Black people go with Black people, right? So a year later, I was at the grocery store with my mom, and I couldn't believe what I saw. I saw a white woman with a Black man. How could this be? I turned to my mom, I grabbed her arm, and I said, "Mom, look." And she glared at me and said, "You can be with whoever you want to be with." That moment right there shaped my whole perception of dating. But where did I get this crazy idea anyway? Because clearly I didn't get it from my mom. Where does an 8-year-old child get her perceptions about the world? Consider never seeing images of yourself in advertising, or consider only seeing images of yourself in advertising. How would that shape your perception? For me, it created blind spots that would take years to uncover. But now I question if all images are inclusive, but also an authentic representation of underrepresented people specifically. Heck, just even 2 months ago, I took a trip out to Costa Rica, and when I walked into my hotel, these were the visuals I saw. So, are these the only types of people that enjoy travel? That was crazy because all around the hotel, I saw people of different ethnicities. Even just a few weeks ago, I was talking to one of my African-American girlfriends, and she said that she walked into an outdoor clothing company here in the Pacific Northwest. She was met with blank stares. Finally, an employee walked up to her and said, "Are you in the right place?" I guess it's no wonder when all of the in-store advertising were just white faces. So I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood and white schooling system, so the majority of my friends were white. I am a proud first-generation Nigerian American, and my parents taught me to preserve my culture and be the best amidst American culture. And so one thing really stood out to me, and it was that my dad said, "You can't come home with anything less than an A+. B's are bad." But he also said, "You're gonna have to work twice as hard as your white counterparts to get ahead in life." So I grew up seeing white family sitcoms, white people playing the leads in movies, white people gracing the covers of magazines. I even joined a college, and I entered into a predominantly white sorority. There just wasn't much racial diversity. Now, I call all of this out in hindsight, all of this whiteness out in hindsight, but at the time, that was just my normal. Now, my normal would be challenged in 2013 when I decided to start a blog with my sorority sisters called The Sorority Secrets. This was during the boom of the blogging world, and so we were getting a lot of attention quickly, working with national brands and also getting some local attention. In fact, one of my friends here asked me a question that caught me off guard. He said, "Hey, out of curiosity, why don't you show any Black people on your site?" What? I was shocked at this question. How could I not show Black people on my site? So, to prove him wrong, I pulled my site up. And I scrolled, and I scrolled, and I scrolled. And disappointment kicked in. He was right. Not a Black or brown face in sight. How did I even let this happen? But then I had this aha moment. I realized, wait, I subconsciously have been seeing the world as white. That what I was doing was reflecting back what had been my normal, what I had seen in media for decades. Well, I'm one of those people who, I'm all about quick fixes. So I hopped on the web, and I typed in the word sorority. And this is what I found. Pages and pages and pages of white faces. I cried for hours over this realization. Is it better today? Well, if you were to search the term couple, here's what you'll likely find. Pages and pages and pages of white couples. Now, many things can be implied by this, but perhaps maybe the most obvious is that white heterosexual relationships are the norm. But that's not a full representation of reality. So just where are these images coming from? Well, the majority of them are coming from stock photo sites. These are sites where you can find images for advertising and other marketing needs. But here's the problem. When the majority of those images are sharing a certain type of people doing and displaying the same things, you run the risk of perpetuating negative stereotypes or isolating marginalized groups. For example, let's take the word boss. If you were to search the word boss on a popular stock photo site, what you'll probably find are white males in suits. But that's not a full representation of the workforce. We know that over 45% of women constitute the US workforce, and of that, slightly over a third are in managerial positions. So not only are women experiencing a wage gap, but they're also experiencing a gap in the amount of imagery that depicts them in executive roles. Okay, let's take another word. Let's take the word professional. Okay, I see some more diverse imagery here, but here's what you don't see. A lot of companies have policies in place that ban certain hairstyles, like mine. So anybody who sees an ad like this for a job might be inclined to take an interview, but they're gonna quickly find out that they're gonna have to change their natural appearance just to get hired. So it isn't enough just to throw up a diverse photo if your policies in place are actually discriminatory. Imagine the visuals that we saw when Black Panther came out. We saw an all-Black cast giving young Black and brown kids validation that they too can play the leads in movies. In fact, Nikia, played by actress Lupita Nyong'o, can attest to the power of visuals. When Lupita was just 5 years old, she went down on her knees every day praying to God, asking that he would make her skin lighter so she could get accepted, so she would be accepted. It wasn't until she saw visuals of supermodel Alec Weck that she decided and felt that her beautiful dark complexion was accepted. So it is for these reasons that I decided to start a diverse stock photography business with my co-founder, Joshua Kissy, in 2016. Not only did we want to have a fair representation of underrepresented people, but we also wanted to challenge our consumers to use these images in an authentic way. Because a diverse photo, not used in an authentic way, isn't progressive. One thing that was also important for us is for you to get to know the stories behind the subjects, which is why we included a section called narratives. Remember when I was an 8-year-old girl, it was my mom's explanation that helped shape my whole perception of dating. So one of the first projects we worked on was with the indigenous community. Prior to creating a photo shoot, these were the images online. How would these images shape your perception of this community? So what we did is we launched over 100 images, modern images of the American Indian and Alaska Native community. And the impact can be seen in all the different ways that these images have been used. But most importantly, the reaction from this community was, finally, I'm being seen in media. Or take the dinner party series that we did with Black men around the dinner table, a positive sight that you almost never see of Black men. Single Black father, Brandon, wanted to dispel the negative stereotypes that Black fathers aren't present in their children's lives. On our site, you had the ability to leave comments. This is the impact of just one photo. Visuals have a way of shaping our culture. Visuals are a way that we process things around us. So not only is it important to have diverse imagery, but it needs to reflect the truth so that diversity no longer shocks us. When underrepresented people start to see themselves authentically on billboards, in magazines, on the store sites and newspaper articles, the message absorbed is, I am seen, I belong. Thank you.